The default is poor communication that brings problems which destroy organizations. This is the third law of managerial communications. It follows directly from the second law, which we discussed before, which states that good communications must be established and nurtured. Without that, well, you have the default. And that means poor communication. uh, this means you have no standards, you have no structures, you have nothing regular or set that people can fall back on whenever there is change. And of course, change is always happening, no matter what organization you're in, a business, a team, a family. Change has happened or change will happen. You're in the midst of change. Without establishing it, you have the default, which means you fall back on nature. What that means in an organization is that well, when you have meetings, you fall back on nature. The strongest, only the one of the strongest voice is heard, not the best idea. And other people will not be heard, and they will not feel valued. They might begin to think, why are they here? Why are they in your organization? Uh, People, when they're in a bad mood, will not perform as well. They have no standard to operate according to. Uh, when there's conflict, people have no standard to operate by and resolve it. In fact, there'll be no boundaries if there's an argument, either in your business or conflict with customers or even something at home. No boundaries. Uh, People that are who are members of your team will sense no brand identity, no way that we have to communicate. This is our special way. This is the way we have. This is who we are. They won't have that. They won't be they won't be happy. They'll begin to question their roles in all of this chaos, and they won't feel as valued. Uh, Problem here is that you'll be exhausting yourself if you are the leader of this kind of organization. Without good communication standards that have been established, um, you might get the idea that you're establishing them with the force of your personality, or the wonderfulness of your idea. And I'm sure it is wonderful. It's probably inspired, but you can't go around enforcing it all the time. You can't go around expecting everyone to rely on your magical personality. That's going to result in micromanagement, which means that everything is going to be according to your whim. People are going to think it's arbitrary. You're going to be coming around trying to make everything follow this, follow that, follow this. And why do I say arbitrary? Because without standards, you yourself are relying on your emotions. You think you're relying on your mind, but we as leaders, okay, business owners, managers, heads of family, perhaps, mothers, fathers, leaders of teams, we lie to ourselves, believing in our conceit that, our mind is so powerful and rational, and it can figure out the standard in every time if we don't have it set. And that just can't be true, because yourself, we change our minds often. We figure out new things, we learn things, we want to reinterpret things. That's part of it. That's why you are this kind of person, the person you are today. That's why you are an innovator, an entrepreneur. That's what brought you to success, this ability to learn, to change, to develop. Yet by not setting these standards for the people who follow you, you're going to lose that progress. Another thing is that We often do deceive ourselves in thinking that our minds are powerful, that everything we do and think is going to be rational. But if you don't have standards, you're just making it up on the spot. I'll tell you why. Um, well, as the Robert Greene, I'm sure you've read his books about power and whatnot. Something very important he said was that your emotions are stronger than your mind. This means things you're saying that fit this situation are influenced by the emotions of that situation, the stress, the pressure, the deadlines, everything that involves, that's involved in any kind of project management. Um, Calls forth emotions in you and in your team, the people you're talking to. They're having them too. And all of this goes together to influence what you're saying. Uh, Jerry Colonna, in his great book on leadership, said you have to find out so much about your emotions to be a leader, where they come from. And of course, that's true. We need to set these kinds of standards. Uh, it's just like when you're learning to type. Uh, we don't just sit down at the keyboard. If you've ever had typing lessons, you don't just sit down at the keyboard and, you know, try to memorize where all the letters are at one time, tick, 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 and think you're going to create a masterpiece. You don't do it that way. You start out with one letter, J, 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 then you get to K, K, then you go J, K, J, K, J, K, J, K. After a week of that or something, you get another letter, L, J, K, K, J, K, K, J, K, L, L, J, K, L, J, K, L, K, J, whatever. Letter by letter, you build something until you can type out your thoughts rapidly. The same thing goes for something more artistic like piano. We do exactly the same thing. C, 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 D, 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 C, C, D, E, E, C, C, D, till finally, you're able to, E, E, F, G, F, E, D, C. Okay, and you've got Ode to Joy. We can sing along. And this is what you need to do. Another example, masterpieces of Vincent van Gogh. Yes, he didn't start out painting in that wildly expressive way. He learned to paint. He learned the theory of colors. Built on that, did something so personal, all his own. Without these standards, we can't just expect people to drive right into our inspiration, because our inspiration is changing all the time. You can create standards that establish and nurture good relations. And if you don't, my friend, all the work you've done is going to be left up to chaos. People who mean good, but they're chaotic. It's chaotic good, and they don't support an organization. And neither will you without these structures. You may be thinking, well, why can't I do whatever I want to do? I'm the boss around here. Yes, you are. And for that reason, you have the responsibility to set structures that people can follow in, believe in, and create with. And if you don't, everything you've done is going to be chaos, conflict, and gone with the wind. Don't let that happen. I don't want that to happen to you. Thanks for listening.